Hi, I am Mary Mazur. This is Change Your Funk to Fun. Ooh, welcome to this episode. This episode is Nurture and Nourish Your Soul. And yes, we're going to be talking about nurturing and nourishing your soul. We have a wonderful guest on the show, Kristen Lacey. So, Kristen grew up around horses, spending summers at her aunt's ranch, and it became a childhood dream of hers to have horses one day. But she never believed that she could have them after she got married and had kids and grew a very successful doula business. But after becoming an empty nester, her dream came alive on her 40th birthday when her former husband actually gave her a horse. How nice is that? She didn't realize having a horse would heal her empty nest syndrome and personal challenges she was going through. So it helped her build her self confidence and her worth with these horses. After experiencing the healing benefits of horses herself, Kristen became determined to find property that would allow her to help others in the same way. And then here came Magnolia Stables that she has in Howell, Michigan. Oh, and then she is able to do the aquatic facilitation sessions with people, helping them with the horses, helping with people in their healing journeys, while having a beautiful sacred space on her gorgeous property. So we love to invite Kristen Lacey to the show. Hello, Kristen.
Hello, hello. Thanks for the introduction and thank you for inviting me on to your show.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I love that we can let our community who's listening here know that, yeah, a little bit about each of us, and that how we knew each other once upon a time, and how we're circling back, and that we are going to be offering a retreat, a nurture and nurture your soul retreat at the end of June. So at the end of the show, we'll be talking about how they can find out more information about that. And then, yeah, we'll be sharing our gifts, who we are, what led us to where we are right now. And then, yeah, and I like to say spirit is moving us very potently, actually,
I
with this.
agree.
Yeah. Would you like to share like how we first knew each other? We can begin with that.
Yeah, so Mary and I met in a birth world. So Mary was a wonderful nurse, and I was, just beginning my doula practice. So gosh, Mary, that's been like 26 years. I think we've
Wow.
known each other and about each other and all of that, because that's how long I've been a doula, right? And so, but we ended up in a very beautiful part of the hospital where we were really encouraging natural birth and tapping into our own abilities to be strong for ourselves as women and that kind of thing. And so Mary and I, many nights, powerhousing through, being the strength, or helping be the strength for the women that we were serving and encouraging them to find their own strength, right, together. And both of us just kind of like clicked with our language and our will for who we were serving. And we just realized that we were kind of kindred spirits even at that point. And so I always loved when I would walk in with a client of mine and Mary would be there, right? And so it just made for, a good birth for our clients, and for her patients. And so, and then through the years, I've worked with Mary. I've done some of her Psych K
Mm.
myself,
Mhm.
and so I understand, kind of that great therapy. And then just recently, we've kind of lost touch, and just recently, Mary and I was scrolling on TikTok, and there's Mary promoting her Psych K and everything that she does. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got Mary again. And so I called her. I said, hey, Mary, I'm doing workshops and retreats and all kinds of things on my property. And we should build one. We need to make one. And here we are. Um, we've made a retreat that we want to promote today. So I'm really excited.
Right. Isn't this great? I know. I love it. It is so fun. Like, I mean, amazing, right? And I just recently hired a social media expert. She's amazing, Karen Mendez. And yeah, and she's the
One,
one that got me to get started on TikTok because I wasn't on TikTok at all, right? And it's like, look at this. I know. Isn't that funny? And then look at this. And now this is all happening.
absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's these little pieces. Yeah. And it's so cool because I know for myself, and I think the same with you, is that we're allowing ourselves to continue to grow and expand and to share our gifts in new unique ways, right? And there's a
Sure.
season for everything. Like I know you and I love to help moms when they were birthing. It is. I really loved it because yeah, I did it for 26 years too. Now isn't that funny how all of those years in the nursing realm. But then my spirit swooped me out of that. Instead of helping moms have babies, I help people birth their true selves. So I help people
Oh,
connect with yeah, their divinity, their true essence, find out who they really are, and then discover all the things that they agree, they took everybody else's beliefs or their way of being and thought that was them, but it's not. And so it's time to clean that all up and release a lot of that and let that stuff go. And then yeah, and then so in the journey, I mean, I definitely primarily have been offering psyche is my main giftings, and then just recently more things have been opening up where my spirit said, all right, you're going to be offering some new retreats. I said, okay. And there's one the end of May coming with authentic circles with some friends, and then you called like a week later and said, oh yeah, I think we're supposed to do a retreat together, and I said, yes, I think we are. So it really is really magical, and it really just comes in so beautifully and easily. And we'll talk definitely more in detail of each that we offer. I know for myself, alongside of Psyche, I also, well, I became a Reiki master. So that's another one. I didn't even realize I could even bring that in too. It's all these things we do, we don't realize we can bring in. But what I'll be offering here with our retreat is I also became a sound bowl practitioner, and I will be buying a gong. I've been looking. So when I find the right gongs, and I sing, so I let the harmonics actually, my spirit and the spirit team that I work with actually will sing through me. Um, Really beautifully too, to help people. Sound is a beautiful way to help people begin to access some things. And our breath is everything. It's breathing in the life force energy of this world. We take our first breath as a baby, right? And then our last breath when we go here.
oh
So
yes.
breath is very, very, very vital. And yeah, we'll definitely be talking definitely more with that. And then I also I learned Tai Chi a bit ago. I'm a Tai Chi leader with that, but then I also just recently am becoming a Radiant Lotus Qigong practitioner. So I love an instructor where I love to offer Qigong as another way. It's a form of using our gentle body movements, our breath, and our connection, our vertical alignment. So it's really another gateway. There's lots of ways that we can help ourselves, and qigong's a very practical way. If you actually let yourself use it every day, that even that can help in beautiful ways. And then of course the sprinkling of psyche, which is going to be helpful. And then for you,
Sure.
if you'd love to share a bit more about with your horse therapy, because that I'm so excited about. I loved horses as a kid too, by the way, and I still love riding horses, but same thing, getting married, having kids, raising a family, running a business, it just, wow, how do you fit the time into a horse thing too? So I love that we're going to actually bring in the piece of the giftings of the horses. So yeah, if you'd like to share a little bit more with that, if that would be good.
Well, I think that when we first started talking about it, we connected on the level of helping individuals find their authenticity, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you cannot lie to a horse. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you come in with the energy of being angry or frustrated or sad or whatever, the horse is going to pick up on it and kind of show you what you're showing them. And so, there were times I was kind of loosely discovering this during my empty nest period of time where I would, thank goodness my ex bought me the horse, but then I had to ride it, right? I had to interact with it. I had to, groom it and all of that. And boy, if I would drive out to see my horse and I was angry about, being an empty nester, or I had this negative energy, my horse would I'd go into the pasture and my horse would flip around and like hightail it away from me. And
Wow.
yeah, just absolutely get gone. And so I had to kind of understand, like, why is that? Because there were other times where, he's literally eating out of my hand and like practically walking with me. Like I don't even have to put the lead rope on or anything like that. And
Mm.
so it started to become kind of fascinating to me about the energy I'm bringing, right? And,
Mhm.
who am I to this horse? What story am I telling myself?
Mhm.
And how can I improve it? So that my horse always wants to be around me and that kind of thing. And it's just
Mhm.
amazing because horses are prey animals,
Mhm.
and so they are, naturally going to run away from fear, from anything that is presenting fear to them,
Mhm.
or something that they feel they have to protect themselves from, right? And it shows up on various in various ways with the facilitation that I do. I happen to have a very abused horse here
Mhm.
that, you know, individuals who come and work with her, she senses it. And so she gets quiet with them, and she comes and stands with them, and she breathes out so that they breathe out. And it's just an
Mhm.
amazing interaction to see. And so I'm just really fortunate enough to be the facilitator for that kind of interaction. So it's horse human connection on the ground. And it's the ability to understand through me asking open ended questions, kind of who you are at the moment that you're meeting the horse. They
Mhm.
sense your heartbeat even 4 feet away. And so if
Mhm.
it's they will get sensitive to that. Like, are we getting ready to run from this, or do we need to protect the individual? Like, what's happening? And so, just like you said, magical and just amazing how the interaction can happen. So it,
Wow.
it helps to heal a lot of individuals with the struggle with PTSD, dealing with triggers, postpartum depression, several different depressions, and just getting to understand who you are as an individual. Sometimes you walk in and you think that you're like, you got it, you've done your therapy, and you absolutely have control over your life and all of that, and you just come and stand in front of the majestic horse, and they help you just unwind everything. And so
Oh,
and so
wow.
the stuff that you felt like you built up was that were actually walls and false pretenses to who you are. And
Mhm.
the horse actually kind of walks by you, and you're like, nope, I don't got it at all. This animal is 1,200 pounds, and I'm standing right next to it, and I'm not as tough as I'm pretending to be, type of thing. And so we kind of like have to start over, and really kind of build that confidence up. But here's another story. So a young lady came. I ran a workshop. Several women came, and this young lady kind of had that persona of, I got it together, and, I'm just here just because I want to pet a horse, and I go along with it because I'm like, hey, that's great. Here, grab a brush. You want a pet? Why don't you groom the horse? It's so, but she actually spent some alone time with one of my horses, and the energy that she gave to that horse, my horse ended up like burying his head into the corner of his stall um,
Mhm.
during the session. And I started asking the questions. Well, how is that looking to you? What are you getting from this horse that's doing
Mhm.
these mannerisms? And she just kept talking about the kind of the telepathic discussion that she was having with this horse about
Mhm.
feeling very lonely in her life, and how she felt abandoned, and that kind of thing. And but that's what my horse decided to take and kind of mirror, kind of going into his own shell, type of thing, right?
Nurture and nourish your soul. And we have Kristen Lacey here. The two of us are going to offer a retreat the end of June, the last weekend of June. Yeah, for exactly this, to help people nurture and nourish themselves up to actually all the way to back to their soul level, to their true essence of who they are, and then let that start to branch out into all aspects of us as a human. So that's the gift here, is that a lot of times we are taught, which are still good, make sure you're eating right, make sure you're sleeping right, make sure you're exercising. We hear this all the time, blah, 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 blah. But guess what? People are like, well, that it still ain't working. I mean, and those are still important. I mean, those are basic foundational things. It's just we're going through massive changing times right now. And if people haven't noticed, everything's changing. So we also have to change within us. So it is important to receive other tools that can help us with these massive transformations, and like the horse therapy, which is letting the horses and like you say, the magicalness, the magnificence, just their divine essence, and their giftings. They have these giftings. So, yeah, would you like to share a little bit more about what you were talking about with yes, with the lady that
Yes.
was hiding, the horse was hiding in the corner?
Yeah, so the young lady, she turned to me, and it was, our turn to kind of have an interaction with, what she was seeing from the horse and how she was feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
she just started crying. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's my time to hold space. And so I asked her if she would like a hug. And
Mm-hmm.
she literally cried in my arms for 30 minutes. I
Oh,
mean, we,
wow.
just sobbed for 30 minutes. And then we didn't talk anymore then, but when we came back into our circle, she shared that she had just buried so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get, his name is Big Chief, and he's kind of the overseer. He's kind of the granddad of our herd. So he kind of
Mm-hmm.
brings that presence, like, and she just felt like he wasn't buying anything she was putting down. And in
Mm-hmm.
order for him to kind of interact and be with her, she had to like put down all her walls. And that really kind of took her to a level of, yeah, I've been hiding, I've been
Mm-hmm.
pretending, and he brought my authentic self back, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we were able to kind of in group, I had a one of the other people here, she was a life coach, and so I generally match and meet up or do these programs with a teammate such as
Mm-hmm.
yourself, to further, the growth or the connection, or even having the psychology part to it, right? And so in group, she was able to kind of share that some of her family dynamics, really made her put the walls up, and that she's ready to kind of walk out her authentic self and
Mm-hmm.
really find who she is. And she's like 30,
Wow.
and so, so that's kind of how the horses help to get you real and right with who you are, but also nourish. There was a lot of nourishing that went on, with the hug from me and the shedding of all of the tears. Right, she's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
nurturing and nourishing her soul in that way, and then following up with the connection of the life coach and that kind of thing. Right, so kind of
Mm-hmm.
placing a different trajectory to
Mm-hmm.
heal and walk better. Um, have her soul be healthier. So it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, yeah. What a gift. What a gift. And then that's the key too, is anyone that does come to our retreat and our offering is because they're ready for it. Because you do have to be ready. You have to be
Yeah,
willing, ready and willing, have the courage and the willingness to confront these things. And like you say, and you might even be surprised, right? Because a lot of us don't know. Many of us aren't even aware of all of the blocks that we have, or the guards that are up, or the masks we have to use, the being a certain way so we can be accepted or included or loved or safe. A lot of it's safety, especially the
sure.
blocks and the barriers. Is that safety gateway. And like, I help people with the subconscious level of the mind, so that's the part that they're not aware of. So
Right.
right, with do with psyche, because we can help bring up, and they're going to bring up, they have the wisdom that is going to come up with it. So it's also another tool that can be used. And the gift is that they are meant to be enhancers for each other. So I know even with psyche, it can work as an enhancement also with the horse, also assisting. So these all work so potently and beautifully together, which is really nice. Yeah. So we're gonna have like, yeah, like Thursday, or it'll be a Friday evening, right? Where we're just gonna start out with the bonfire. So just get to know each other, connect, share, have it be a fun, enjoyable time All of it will
Yeah.
be enjoyable. There might be some, like you say, sometimes where we're crying, sometimes where we're, have to scream out or things like that. And that's a lot of times as children, we weren't allowed to do that. Or if we were shamed, right? Or
Yeah.
spanked and punished.
Yeah.
Punished because you're crying, punished because you're, expressing your anger, things like that. And these are parts that I love to say that it's important that we heal these parts within ourselves instead of blocking them or hiding them or shutting them down. And because it is going to come up. That's the thing, is that the stuff that we have, we are the creators of our life, co-creating with spirit and with our own human self, is that life's going to keep presenting us. It is a reflection of the beliefs that we have, of what our values are, what we mean, what we believe about ourselves in the world. And many of us got our self-worth knocked down. I know mine certainly included, with all of the craziness that I was raised in, that, and I didn't even realize it. Like, I don't think I would have admitted it or told anybody about it. You don't even know, because it was my normal. I didn't have anything to compare it to, other than when you do meet other people that do have their self-worth. Let's say they stand up for themselves, they speak their truth, they hold their own very well, they live the life that they're loving and desiring, not just trying to please everybody or make sure everybody else is okay, things like that. So many of us,
Absolutely.
women, because this is a women's retreat, and then exactly after this we will expand it out to men eventually, but it's first going to be with women. That it is, and that's okay, because we're actually at a time, 2024 here, spiritually. The spirit team that I work with, Council of Light, which are really pretty awesome, is that the feminine is fully anchoring in this year, this is a very potent year. And we are being called within ourselves to anchor in our feminine with our masculine. And for many of us, we have an internal battle going on, an internal war or conflicts that we don't even realize that we have. A lot of it did come from our childhood upbringing, our relationships with our parents or siblings, things like that. And many of them are actually connected to many other timelines, other lives that we have experience, that we definitely, many people, it's kind of grateful that they don't remember. My system remembers these things, which really makes it quite interesting, because I'm like, whoo, okay, that's enough of that now. It does give me a lot of compassion for humanity, because we have been through a lot. We have been through a lot, especially the feminine, in lots of ways. And I know I'm glad I came in here as a woman in this lifetime. Yes, I am. And I love and honor the men. We have there's a divine, masculine, let's say a sacred feminine, that we are divine and sacred. And then we have our human parts, which is the parts that we separated ourselves from our divinity. And we get to do that in the free will choice of living here on earth, especially in the 20th century. We definitely did. I know for myself, I was born in the fear, in the that I'm not good enough. Ooh, we even have the thunder going. I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. That's what I embodied within myself. And I didn't even realize I did it. It was just what I was um I was interpreting what was happening in my life very literally, and that's what we do our first 7 years. And then people don't realize it, but that actually is what runs your life for the rest of your life. Now, how crazy is that, right? Until you can recognize it and want to change it, and that's what we help people with. When they're actually sick and tired of it, it's actually really good. When people say, I'm really sick and tired of this. This something has to change. Perfect. That means you're ready.
And that definitely shows up in the equine therapy as well. Childhood discussions, you know,
Yes.
my fear comes, my anxiety comes from, something that triggered them as a child.
Mhm.
And we're talking about, well, adults well into their 30s, 40s, 50s that are still talking about the foundation, right? These are foundational building blocks that you're talking about. When you think about brain development happening, finishing at 5 for, how smart you're going to be, and then emotional development by 7, right? It's all
Woo.
done.
Right, right,
It's
right.
all
We
done.
basically
By
get
the time you're
all
7,
indicated.
it's done,
Yes.
right? And then that's who comes out a lot of times. That little child is who comes to meet me. Oh, I think we're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, it'll come right back. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
those, a lot of times, those are the children that come to meet the horses and myself. And we
Mm.
get to talk about, maybe how to give that child grace.
Mm. That they never received as a child.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that's
Mhm.
so beautiful. And the horse will naturally, right? When it knows
Mhm.
that,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And
And the
that's a
more
great.
childlike you can come to that horse responds so much better.
Wait, say that
The more
again.
child, the more childlike you can present yourself to that horse will respond to you so much better and have a better relationship with you at that time. Yeah. So
Wow. Yes, it's our innocence, right? We are meant to be childlike. It's biblical. Even Jesus said it, right?
absolutely. Yep.
Childlike, right? Yeah, somehow
Yep.
we were taught, oh, you gotta grow up, take your shit, get out there, go do it, work hard, right?
Yep.
Go, go,
Yeah.
go. Yeah, we learned all
Yes.
of those things. And we get it. Our parents did the best they could because they wanted to make sure we were safe and that we could take care of ourselves. So the intention was good. It was done in a very patriarchal way, a very masculine approach way. And what realizing we're now being in the Aquarian age is that the feminine is equalizing now. And then the feminine is actually going to be leading this next 1,000 years, which is really going to be nice because the feminine is about community. It's about collaboration. It's about beingness, the peace. It's the pause. It's that, oh, how about we take a breath, see
Right.
what comes. The feminine interconnects with everything. It synthesizes. It brings things together. That's what that true motherhoodship is all about, as far as a true divine mother energy is one that does want to include, is unconditionally loving, and that is meant to work with the masculine. The masculine is there to help us with action steps, to help us to get focused. It is a bit of making sure there's a structure there. So it's nice to have a river that has banks. So the two are meant to work together. It's just for us, our masculine got way out of balance for most of us here and society, and we're here to help anchor it. So this is the nurture and nourishing is to help anchor that in. This episode is Nurture and Nourish Your Soul. We have Kristen Lacey here, who I know is a doula and a midwife, and now she does equine therapy with horses, helping people exactly discover their true authentic selves again and to activate that and to give permission for that to come alive again, right? To be our real selves. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I know, I know. Woo. So what is and we will be talking about breath work and sound healing and qigong. But before we do that, what is your favorite thing about the horse therapy? What do you love it the most about?
I think the self discovery is what I love
Mm,
the most. I think I love seeing a very timid individual come into the round pen with the two horses that I have for therapy horses and walk out leading them around, petting them, and just feeling free enough to just be there, and so just the transformation of,
mm,
I came in scared. Now I'm loving this and I can actually do this. I can do this, and that is just amazing, right? The surrendering of all that they surrendered to. And then
mm,
with the facilitation that I do, so I just want to make note, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm a
mhm,
facilitator. And so
mhm,
the therapy that happens, so I call my horses the therapist because they show up and do all kinds of stuff that sitting on a couch never will do with a therapist. But I also have to say that you do potentially, I'm not going to tell you not to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. You might need that also. But
mhm,
the work that you do with me is you walk it out in real time. So you might
mhm,
be working with a therapist and you come and you actually put that into an action form.
mm,
And so
mm,
my facilitation with my questions that I ask, I'm actually bringing it around to the applying of what you've actually been working on yourself with, if that makes any sense. And
mhm,
so it's proving it out. It's like, yeah, I can sit with my psychologist and say, "Hey, yeah, I've mastered that. I'm healed. I feel good." And then you come and work with me, and I'm like, "Okay, prove it." Right?
mhm,
Way. I'm like, okay, so now we're just gonna, walk this out, and you're gonna understand if you really do feel as healed as you say that you are. And that
mhm,
I love to see. I love to see that, individuals who are dealing with maybe anxiety, they,
Mhm.
do some of the channeling of, bringing all of that anxiety, feeling it and releasing it down into the ground. We do some of those exercises like, okay, get rid of what you're feeling and stay very present here with me and the horse.
Mhm.
Just working through that is just amazing because, like I said, by the end of it, they don't remember anything about anxiety, but they remember that they're just spending some quality time with a big beautiful beast, and it's
Mm.
just really incredible and amazing. Yeah, and
Mhm.
so with several sessions, then they are able to bring that and apply it to an everyday challenge that they're having, and we
Mhm.
go into, well, how can this work in a potential feeling of starting an argument? Do you feel how you can maybe diffuse that feeling, just much like you diffused all of the anger or frustration that you had to before you could work with Big Chief? And so that's the facilitation part of it. uh,
Mm. Good. Yes, they get to bring up those emotions or those thoughts or the thing that is scaring them or blocking them or things like that. Yeah, because we have coping skills, right? We have developed the
yeah,
coping skills,
yeah,
that have served us in survival land, but now we are being raised up into our personal power. And that's what it sounds like the horses are doing, is helping them stand in the personal power of them, knowing
that's right.
they can be in a new way, they can respond in a new way, right? They can respond from their full selves, right? Their authenticity and the love, the peace, the truth that they are, instead of those scared parts of them that are still kind of think they're running the show, right? Yeah, so nice. Yeah, so then while we'll be doing this on Saturday and Sunday, I know you and I are going to be offering each of our giftings, and we'll just break up the group. Well, one half will be with you, one half will be with me. I know for me, and we're going to be talking about the 7 levels of consciousness. That way people
Mm,
can get an idea of where they are on the scale. What are they really dealing with the most right now? And it's okay because we actually are all of it. It's where we are is where we are. And the gift, do you want to stay there? Would you like to lift out of suffering and pain or survival land, and step up into your power, into the higher energy fields of love and interconnectedness? So we will be sharing about that so that they'll see the roadmap. This is the roadmap of what we're being invited into. Right. And then, yeah, exactly. And then someone will be going with the horses, and then some will be staying with me, where I will be offering some breath work therapy. And breath is amazing. This has been going on for thousands of years too. But yes, we can actually breathe in a specific way that helps bring up emotions. It's going to bring up the stuff that you've been hiding and you've been blocking and keeping in, right? Yeah, like you say, where people can, if they need to make sounds or cry or shake their bodies, things like that. We're going to show them some body movements that they can do with the breath work. And then alongside the breath work is I do sound bowls, because the sounds of these crystal bowls are just so amazing. So
mhm,
amazing. Yeah, to
mhm,
really be bathed into the sound, so that they can really wash off those old ways and help anchor in their new ways. And then, yeah, which I'm grateful for. And then I'll also be guiding them through qigong and doing some beautiful movements with our bodies, because the chi energy is, everything is flowing. We are the prana, we are the chi that are in these human forms, and then we're meant to have the flowing of the life force energy flowing through us all the time. And many of us have things that are blocked, like we have pain, we have health conditions, we have, yeah, your body's going to let when stuff is going on. And qigong is more of a feminine practice that is gentle, and yet it's very core strong. So you can strengthen yourself in your core. We help people guiding into their vertical alignment, because most people, even just how they're standing and holding their bodies, says a lot. And I'm sure the horses pick up on that, whether they're all hunch
mhm,
over, right, or like that, or they're
mhm,
going to one side or the other side, because you have a feminine side and a
mhm.
masculine side. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Even just how you're holding your head up, how are you holding your shoulders? Are your shoulders all crunched up? Because you're, in this. So each of these amazing pieces. How is your spine? How are your hips? Are you grounded? A lot of us, I know for me, I wasn't in my body very much. That was my security to help get
Mhm.
on out of there.
Yeah.
And it was a coping skill. There's a book called 5 Personality Patterns, a great one. It talks about these 5 coping skills. And now it's so great that I do with the gift of psyche. And at the end of the workshop, we'll be treacling and they'll get like a little taste. They can transform a perception or get a beginning start where they literally can reprogram their subconscious mind within minutes of the biggest issue that came up that whole weekend. So we're going to kind of like give a little finale for have people to really anchor in, their new way of being, that they could really walk out of the retreat being in a new way. And it's really their true essence way. It's really their true divine way, which is heavenly, huh?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, and we're going to be offering. I appreciate. Thank you for offering your beautiful space of your farm that people can bring tents and cots, right that way, and then we'll just have to share the bathrooms. But and then there's hotels close by too. But it's nice when you can have the immersion. I love that when we can stay together, because I know a lot what happens I found with the workshops that I offer, and then now the retreats I'm offering, is that each one is here for us. Like whoever
Mhm.
decides to come, it is such an amazing unit, and a lot of our kindred sisters come. So we meet people and we connect with people that are like, where have you been my whole life?
Right.
Like, right? That has happened many times. So we are such a great supporters or mirrors or just, yeah, a great sisterhood. It's the sisterhood, that can really anchor in, which I think a lot of us are craving. I know I certainly am, of it, just being in community again, especially with that support. And right now it's with the women. Eventually it'll be men and women, but right now just that feminine energy uniting again. I think that's a super important piece here.
Well, I think also because of COVID being so, isolated, you
Mhm.
know, and only doing things over, the internet and that kind of thing. I think that now that we've gotten permission to come back as, loving community, I
Mhm.
think that, people are seeking it out. We really, I think, hungered for it,
Mhm.
and so now it's refreshing to be able to be in the space with others and realize that we aren't alone, right? There are life challenges that are happening to every individual, and we're
Mhm.
not the only ones that are carrying the cross that we're carrying, and so I think that that is very important. And I think one of the reasons why we're being called to do this, Mary, is to remind us women that we are here and connected and here for each other, right? And so that's what I'm excited about as far as this retreat. So,
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, because I think a lot of us, I know myself included, is that we were taught to be tough. We taught to be, be strong and tough and get out there and take on this world, which we did a good job with. But we miss that whole other parts of us, that there is a tender side to us, a
yes,
very gentle side, a kind side, that slowing down side. So that's the part that's going to get really, really get nurtured nicely, so that the balance can come back in. Because when we
sure.
can live more balanced, of course, it's great to be strong. Absolutely. But we don't have to act like we're tough all the time. That's the big point. Like I know even for my own self, to even say I had needs was very challenging, as I couldn't show I had needs as a kid. I had to go take care of my own self, being one of 12 kids. Figure it out, kid. And don't even ask for any help. You're going to do it yourself. So then I didn't even realize that I couldn't even like realize that I actually have needs. Like it's okay being human to have needs. We all have needs, and
Yeah,
it's okay to
yeah,
share what your needs are, and especially what in our heart yearning is. What is our heart yearning for? So having that beautiful time. So we definitely will be having time for that, especially in the song circles and the bonfires in the late evening. And
mhm,
then I love your whole area is going to be their own private time. We're going to have some art therapy and reflection time. So it's going to be,
yeah.
I know, I'm looking forward to it already.
So amazing, so amazing. Yeah, I just hope that everybody walks away feeling lighter and refreshed and full, lighter and full at the same time. Does that make sense? I think it does. We're going to fill them up with the necessary things and get rid of the stuff that isn't necessary, right? So,
Nurture and nourish your soul. And we have Kristen Lacey here, and she and I are going to be, offering a retreat the end of June to help people nurture and nourish their souls. Yeah. So, Kristen, is there something that if you could tell somebody like, man, if they just heard this, that could really help them know that, wow, this really could make a difference for them. What do you think that would be for what we're offering? Hmm.
Oh, I mean, thanks for putting me on the spot, Mary. But
I know. What do you want? I know.
yeah, how do we put that in a soundbite? You're asking a very long-winded person to sum this up.
That's I know. It's
I
okay.
I honestly think that yeah, living your truth and your authentic self, and walking this out. I think last year we were looking at people discovering what authenticity meant, and I think this year now we got to put it to action. So I think walking away from this this weekend retreat, my hope is that will actually learn how to put it to action.
Mm.
So that's my goal for it.
Thank you. And that's everything, right? Because not only do you get, I know, see, you did it. You did it. Yay. And not only do we get to actually enjoy the whole weekend, receive so much. This is really going to be a weekend of receiving. And that's the
Yeah,
feminine. The feminine energy is all about receiving. And the masculine gives. And we have both within us. But if I think it's for people that really are ready to receive the nurturing and the nourishment that they are needing right now. And if they can do that, they will be coming out of there that they'll then be able to nurture and nourish their own selves. That's what we're going to be helping
yeah,
them with in their authentic way, and then be able to stand in their power, to speak, to learn how to say no, to create boundaries. We'll be talking about that. And then also, yeah, doing what feels right. Because when you can live from your heart center instead of up in your mind, everything
right.
changes. So I know that's the gift that I know I'm bringing, and you do too in your own unique way that we're both going to be bringing here is for people. I know, and it really, and that it's safe enough, and that it's time. It's just time. It's time
Mhm.
for us to be in this, and for as a woman to stand in our knowingness, in our authenticity, in our power, in our strength, and in our beautifulness of our love, and in our gentleness and our kindness. It's all of it. We're meant to be all of it, and it's important that we do all of it with our own selves first. Like putting ourselves first is a good thing to
Yeah,
do. Caring for your own self first, and then let the
yes.
overflow go care for everybody else. Instead of getting exhausted, making sure everybody else is okay. Right?
I just heard this analogy again, Mary. When you're on an airplane, they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first,
Yeah,
right? So it's
exactly.
almost like save your own life so that you could save others, right? And I feel like as mothers, as caretakers, as nurturers, we sometimes forget that we have to put our own mask on first. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yay. So we're
yeah,
going to be helping people exactly remind them of that. And then they get to actually do it for a whole weekend, which is then going to shoot them
for a
out to
whole
say,
weekend.
this is how I want to live now in this way instead of maybe
Yeah,
my own ways. And then they will be starting to right taking those steps. Exactly. And we're going to be helping them so that they can, I know, and they'll be amazed. They'll be amazed at themselves of how different they really can be in a new
yeah,
way. And that's the gift. Because like you say, we want people to keep expanding, to keep rising, to keep shining brighter than you ever have before. That's what I love helping people do, right? And that way we can enjoy our lives. How about we're enjoying everything that we're doing? We
yeah.
love what we do, right? It's life is
Absolutely.
yes.
Imagine that. It's a concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it is exactly. And this is the new way. And this is what we're gonna actually bring in. And it's such a gift. Well, it's such a joy.
Yeah.
I love how spirit brought us together again, like we did the whole birthing with
Yeah.
the mothers, which was so wonderful.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Now this is a new kind of birthing. People are ready to birth their authentic selves. And the fact that we
Mhm.
can help them do that beautiful, you'll be dueling in a whole new way with your facilitating, right? And your
Yes,
kindness.
for sure.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah,
gift because we get to expand it into all new ways, and it is our spiritual part of us. It's our true, and to really bring in all parts of us, our emotional parts, our mental parts, our physical parts, and our spiritual parts. These are all parts of us that all of it needs attention, and we can have it more in a balance. And when we can do that, people are going to feel a heck of a lot better. That's for sure. And then we're like, wow. Even just bringing in hope, knowing yes, you really can change things. That alone can change everything. And I know
absolutely.
I'm all
And learning
about
to
showing up for people. What's that?
Learning to exhale.
Exactly. Don't be keep holding it all in. Right. And breathing in more deeply of bringing in, like letting yourself open up to all that's here for you and be open to receive it. That's the gift too. Opening your heart. So we'll be talking about the heart. We'll be talking about, yeah, their true essence and all that they're going to be able to do. So how can people get a hold of you if they'd like to learn more about with your facilitation with the horse therapy? Yeah.
So the best way is go to my website, visit magnoliastables.com.
Hmm.
There's several ways to interact with me there. And then also you'll understand the packages that I have offering for equine facilitated learning. My offering, the equine facilitated learning, is called Onward. So you will look for Onward and it'll show you the packages that I offer. But we will also have the retreat linked, I think, to both websites as well. And
Good.
so we'll have information there for how to join us at our retreat.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And for those that want to look more into about this retreat, they can go to my website, igniteandhealyourlife.com. And that's igniteandhealyourlife.com. And then exactly click nurture and nourish your soul. And then, right, you can learn more about it and get your spot before it fills up because it will fill up. We have enough for, I think, 24 spots. So we want to
Yes.
make sure people actually get their spot. And there's an early bird rates. If you do it before the end of before June 1st, you get the early bird rate. So this is awesome. So, all
Yes.
right. Well, thank you again. It was such a joy, Kristen. It's going to be a joy. I know offering this with you. And thank you again.